I'm here at Occupy Monterey with Karen Ford. She is a lifelong Republican who is also an attorney. So, Karen, what brings you out to Occupy Monterey?
Well,
You definitely defy all the stereotypes that we're hearing about in the Occupy movements.
that's true. I mean, I was quite a big supporter of the Republican Party. I've met Ronald Reagan. I was quite good friends with Pete Wilson, and so I've been around the Republican Party for a long time. But I have felt increasingly over the last 15 or 20 years that my beloved country and my beloved party have been more or less hijacked and aren't standing for the same things as they used to. And at the heart of it, I suppose, is my belief in capitalism and the free market. But I believe that monopolies have been allowed to grow up to where the free market isn't there anymore. And as part of that also, we've had this huge chasm growing up between compensation top and bottom. And you cannot have a decent society where there's just a very few people who earn a whole lot of money and everybody else is starving to death. It's not a good way to live. Third world countries, their economies are not where any of us want to live. So I'm hoping that this movement will have some impact to make people come to their senses on these points.
And what is it about this movement that got you out here?
Well, a couple of things. I suppose one thing is that I was favorably impressed with the Tea Party movement for about 2 seconds right in the beginning. And then it seemed to get hijacked. And it began with people who were very unhappy about all the TARP money being handed out, which I was very unhappy about for the reasons I just said. That's not free market. And then all of a sudden they were trying to cut teachers' pensions. And I can't figure out quite how it got flipped around, but I think a lot of the good, healthy anger over the TARP money somehow got turned into bashing fellow citizens. And I don't understand how that happened, but I was unhappy about that. And I thought, I don't want this movement to go that way. Also, I think most of the things that the 99%ers of the Occupy seem to say make a lot of sense to me. It's sensible to me that they're just talking about an intolerable situation, and they are refusing to designate some prescribed list of things to do to fix it. And that way there can be a coalition of people with very, very different political points of view, but all of whom feel that the current situation is untenable. And they can all work together. And that's extremely powerful.
And what are you hoping comes from this movement? What are you hoping? How do you see it growing?
I would hope that somehow as a country we can come to our senses about the price of civilization, essentially, but that we have to be sure that we take care of the least among us, and we have to do that. Again, nobody wants to live in a society where that's not happening. I would hope that as a civilization or as a country, we can decide we will not tolerate the huge monopolies in banking, finance, oil, energy, healthcare, and insurance that currently exist, because they mean that there is no free market and that all of us are pretty much at the mercy of the big corporations and the individuals who run those things, and it's wrong.
What kind of law do you practice?
Actually, I've always been an employment lawyer.
Oh, really?
I used to write a lot of those contracts with those guys that got the $10 million.
Wow.
My clients were some of the biggest corporations in the country.
And so did your views sort of shift when one thing happened, or was it a gradual change?
It was gradual. Those huge golden parachutes bothered me, for example. Lots of things bothered me as I went along. But just kind of slowly over time and just accelerated in the last 10 years of seeing things like almost complete destruction of the union movement, which, I used to be on the other side of it, and not everything a union does is right by any means, but to have them not be there is not a good thing. It seems like so much of what used to be part of the give and take just isn't there anymore, and all of that has become more and more and more.
Do you have a lot of Republican friends?
Oh, yeah.
And what do they have similar views?
And a husband.
Oh, hi. And you're a legal observer.
Yes, I'm not supposed to participate.
He won't talk to you.
Okay.
He's a legal observer.
So do your friends, are their conversations changing? Are they in line with your beliefs?
Some feel as I do.
Right.
Others, we just can't talk about these things because they aren't willing to really take a look at the same things that I've been trying to take a look at. I've also been doing a lot of reading and studying lately, and that has helped.
What are you reading?
Economics professors and what they write, and try to think about it in a fundamental way as to whether I agree with what they say or not. And it never dawned on me to question the teachings of Harvard Business School or of major
Milton
economists.
Friedman.
Yeah, you don't think about questioning that. But we need to, because this is what our young people who turn around and a day later have got a job and they're running those big corporations, and that's just the way their brains are wired. That's what they've been taught is right. And a lot of it isn't right.
How do you make sense of this current brand of republicanism?
I don't, like I said, I feel like my beloved party has been hijacked. I don't make sense of it, except that I think that many times people who are very much part of the 99% think they are part of the 1%, or they think that maybe one day they can become part of the 1%. The answer to that is a big old no. Lightning will strike you before that happens. And when they hear things like higher taxes for the rich, they think, oh, I'm rich. Wrong. So that means higher taxes for me. Generally speaking, we're not talking about you. My friends who are small business owners, I said, they're not complaining about you. The 99% movement doesn't hate you. We love you. What we're mad about is the crooks who are also limiting your ability to grow your business, competing with you unfairly, and creating an environment where it's impossible for you to grow. It's not the 99%ers that are doing that. That's the big boys in Wall Street that are doing that.
Before we started this interview, when we first met, I said that I would love to see you on the cable shows because you really do challenge all of the stereotypes about the Occupy movement. What would you say to the media? Really?
To which media?
The national, sort of more mainstream media, but the ones that just they still don't seem to get it. And they love to put us all in boxes, left, right, red, blue, and those are so stale. Those labels are so stale.
Well, I think that for the most part, these are reasonably intelligent people, and they are aware of what they're doing. And what they're doing is seeking to compartmentalize and marginalize this because it attacks a lot of sacred cows that are just too closely allied with the folks that they work for. And they're not going to have their jobs anymore if they suddenly start saying, end the Fed. Yeah, Judge Napolitano gets away with it, but most people don't, okay? And so I think that there's just too many sacred cows. Think about it, There's the Fed, there's the banking system, many of these things, they just can't talk about them. I will say, though, I do think one of the great things that's come out of Occupy Wall Street to date is that suddenly they talk about at least a few of these things that used to be sacred cows. They wouldn't talk about them as if it wasn't there. It's astounding. Huge problems in the country. They just won't talk about it. And now all of a sudden they're starting to say, gee, maybe that elephant is in the room. Wow, it's possible,
Are you going to continue being involved with this movement?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And I hope I can, find some useful way to contribute towards the goals that I identified as being the things that I would like to see happen. I don't think I'm a very good person to be, laid down in traffic, so hopefully I can find something else that's more suited to my skills and my age.
So would you say that you consider yourself kind of an old school Republican, like a Dwight Eisenhower type?
Yep, absolutely. I'm not sure that I know enough about all of the things that Dwight Eisenhower was, in favor of. But, yeah, I got to tell you, I love Teddy Roosevelt. I think we need the square deal right back again. I guess I would be a progressive if I had to kind of pick a party out of history. That's where I would be. Just level the playing field and then let the market take care of itself. We'll all do fine. Just give us a chance to succeed. And at the same time, of course, take care of the people who just can't.
Are you still practicing law?
Oh, absolutely.
What do you do now?
I'm an employment lawyer, but now I represent humans. You have to say humans because, corporations are people.
Well, thank you so much.
Okay.
And what is your name again? I'm sorry. I didn't even bring my notepad because I wasn't even prepared to do these interviews.
Karen Ford.
Karen Ford. I'm here at Occupy Monterey with Karen Ford, a lifelong old school Republican who is supporting the Occupy movement. Thank you, Karen.
Okay.